Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. I am your host, Sean Hayes, here to bring you the latest and greatest gaming news of the week. So, still trying to figure scheduling out. I think this time slot might work. Yeah, this is episode 338. And I apologize for no show last week. It's I got to get in the habit of setting reminders with the new time, especially since this is on the eve of daylight savings time ending, so there's going to be a time change. But yes, I apologize. I kept falling asleep during podcast prep, and so I said, well, I think I'm just going to have to bump the show a week and catch up on some rest. So apologies for that. I have more. I've got reminders set up so that nothing will wait until the last minute, and setting a time that works earlier, so that it's not trying to do a live show at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, Eastern time. 9:30 seems to be much more manageable. And I have actual news topics this week. I don't have to try and drum stuff up. A lot of crossover news, a lot of crossover news this week. And I think the big thing is I've sharing my thoughts on Valheim the board game, which finally arrived. And I've done, we'll call it 2.5 playthroughs. But definitely got some thoughts on that. Overall, very much enjoyed it. But I do have some criticisms, so we'll go over those as well. So hope everyone's been doing well. And without further ado, let's get into this week's news. So first up, Bloomberg, via Jason Schreier, reports that Amazon is set to lay off more than 14,000 workers, with significant losses coming from its gaming division. So this includes likely games like Lost Ark, New World, certainly one of them. There's a like Lord of the Rings MMO. I don't know if it's Lord of the Rings Online or if it's a different Lord of the Rings MMO. But those are all set to incur some sort of losses, I'm sure. There hasn't really been, I don't know if there's really been any further breakdown of how much each studio is losing workers. But in the letter sent out, basically, in an exceedingly frustrating manner, is justifying the losses with AI becoming such a new and shiny technology, and that clearly we have to run leaner and embrace that technology for shareholders or some other nonsense. Yeah, no, this is just it's Amazon once again being awful. Okay. And yeah, I realize that the live show is going out on Twitch. It's a necessity of the beast. But yeah, unnecessary. Amazon makes more than enough money to support a gaming division. This is just they're constantly chasing ever greater profits to stuff in Bezos's pocket. So we're gonna put the big thumbs down on them. I feel for all the people who are getting laid off. It's awful. And also notably anti-union Amazon. So just gonna throw that out there too. But hopefully, here's the thing. I say hopefully they'll be able to find work. The games industry is just like not hiring right now. it's not great. It's not a great situation for folks to be in. So yeah, and it kind of is just reinforcing my belief that, you know, at the time, college age Sean was pretty distraught over having to give up on the idea of going into the games industry for work. You know, nearly 40 something Sean is going, nah, that was fine. it, you know, I haven't had the career trajectory I necessarily wanted, but I am probably much better off than having gone into the games industry myself. So, um, yeah, I really hope for the best for these folks, but it's kind of bleak out there, if I may say so. Um, so on that note, how about we jump into some happier news? Nintendo announced a Switch 2 edition for Animal Crossing New Horizons, as well as a free content update for both the Switch and Switch 2 editions for Animal Crossing New Horizons. Both are going to launch January 15th, 2026. Switch 2 edition of the game will do enhanced graphics, mouse controls, and there will be a megaphone item where you can use the microphone to basically shout at your Switch like a villager's name to find out where they are on the island. In addition, it'll support game chat. You can use the camera to do the little, show your face to your friends in game chat kind of a thing. But the free content update will include a hotel run by Captain's family, a cleanup service from Mr. Rossetti, Slumber Islands, which will allow you to do full multiplayer. Okay. So you can invite your friends. You can have up to 3 of these Dream Islands or Slumber Islands. You can invite your friends. Your friends will be able to also terraform these islands, which is not something that they can do with your standard islands. There will also be, they call them Nintendo crossover islands, but Nintendo crossover items, but it's not really crossovers when it's your parent company. But it's including sort of retro Nintendo toys and consoles. So it's a return of the Nintendo consoles, including for folks who have an online subscription, the ability to use the consoles to play select titles. It's finally coming back, folks. The ability to play games within Animal Crossing. And it looks like it will likely, I guess, use the Nintendo Switch Online architecture to do it. There will be Lego crossover items. So Lego furniture, Lego shirts. It looks really cool. It makes me kind of wish that Lego did something like Animal Crossing. Because the furniture and the housing materials made out of Lego look really fun. There will be some Zelda items and villagers. So Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom items, along with Tulin and oh geez, I can't remember her name. Minoru will be available as villagers that you can add to your town. That's really cool. But it sounds like for the items, it will be based on Amiibo. I don't know if that's the case for the villagers. It might be, which is a bit rough because those are expensive Amiibo. And then also Splatoon items and villagers. Again, using Amiibo for that. So yeah, that all looks really cool. As far as the hotel, it's I don't remember what the name of the expansion is. That you get for free if you have the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass or whatever. It seems very similar to that, where it's like Room Designer, You're given an assignment to design a room. You design a room, and like you can get guests and you get tickets, and you then spend the tickets on hotel themed gear and vacation themed gear. Rossetti's cleanup service is you can set different areas on your town, and then you can employ Rossetti to just like clean up everything. So he just like picks up all the furniture. He can do various things with like flowers that you plant. So yeah. And if you already own Animal Crossing New Horizons and you have a Switch 2, it sounds like there'll be like it's like the upgrade pack. So you won't have to pay full price. I want to say it was like $5. But I don't think they mentioned a specific price in the announcement. So, again, both of those are launching January 15th. Next up, Nintendo Life reports that both Crypt of the Necrodancer and Rift of the Necrodancer are getting crossovers with Shovel Knight. So Shovel Knight, once again, doing a crossover with just about every other indie title. One that it hasn't gotten a crossover with that we're going to cover later. But yeah, so this is adding Shovel Knight to Crypt of the Necrodancer as a playable character. And seems like he has like his own move set too, which is interesting. And then Rift of the Necrodancer adds a bunch of Shovel Knight tracks to it. So, I love both of these games. Shovel Knight in particular, I love Shovel Knight. So, I'm excited. And it's out now. So it looks like it's out on Steam, and then it's coming to other platforms later, I think is what the announcement read. So very excited for this. It's been a while since I played Crypt of the Necrodancer, but I would love to pick it up again with everyone's favorite shovel-wielding knight. Notably, there is one Necrodancer title that is not getting Shovel Knight DLC, and it's Cadence of Hyrule. I would love it. It's not going to happen because it requires like both the Nintendo and the Necrodancer team. I would absolutely love to have Shovel Knight then be a playable character in Cadence of Hyrule. I just love it. Or if they can't do that, I would love for a Crypt of the Necrodancer style game. But you do Shovel Knight, but with the art style for Cadence of Hyrule, because it was such a good art style. So yeah, that's out now. I'm gonna look into it, certainly. I don't have Rift of the Necrodancer, just because I don't know if I can do Guitar Hero style games anymore. But very excited for Crypt of the Necrodancer. All right, so next up, Lorcana. So as you all know from the last episode of this podcast, I play Disney's Lorcana trading card game, made by Ravensburger, however you want to pronounce it. But we got some bad news recently. So they announced, so up until the set that releases next week, which is set 10, Whispers in the Well. So for the past 9 sets, okay, there have been various rewards for organized play. And these included both character pins and like ink related pin, like ink color related pins. So The first series, the ink color related pins had it was like a banner that said Disney's Lorcana, and the background was like the ink color. Character pins, there's usually been 2 or 3 per set, featuring characters from that set. And they've announced, and it sounds like due to tariffs and manufacturing issues, or manufacturing costs rather, starting in set 10, there will not be any more character pins as organized play rewards. This is a huge blow to many folks' enjoyment with the game. Just because you get a lot of Disney fans, pin trading's still a big thing, and they look cool. They're cool enamel pins. Furthermore, so they're still doing the ink color pins. We only have 3 ink colors left. And they're going to finish that run of the ink colors, and then they're going to stop those as well. So it sounds like they're just phasing pins out entirely for the time being, and replacing them with stickers. But they're stickers that are like this, about the same size as the pins. And also like a singular sticker. So it's not like, oh, we had 3 character pins, we'll get 3 character stickers. No. It's a single character. For set 10, it's Ariel. And I just think, you could have, if you had anticipated this, you could have done bigger stickers, right? Or you could have done more variety of characters. Because stickers, much, much lower cost to produce than enamel pins. And it's so frustrating. Frustrating enough that I started looking into the cost of doing custom pins myself, and just going, if Ravensburger's not going to do it, then maybe I will supply pins as organized play rewards, as like an additional organized play reward for my local game store. Still looking into it to see like what the actual cost would be. And you know what? If it's cheap enough, which it's got to be pretty cheap, I might just do it. So, but yeah, it's a bummer because like Whispers in the Well looks like it's a really fun set. Looks like it's really cool. And this is also coming off the heels of the change up in not having a second place playmat, and that the reward. So it used to be for set championships is that first place would get a champion mat, second place would get a regular mat, which had its own quirks, and then top 4 would get like a foil promo, and then there wasn't anything for participation. Then they changed it so that everybody got non-foil promo, like as a participation, and then top 8 got foil promo. And then they took away the second place playmat. I think now they're changing it again. It's something to do with the promo card for like participating. But it would be nice, for something, maybe a little extra, which I know our local game store does. Like you end up getting more amounts of store credit, okay, for doing like different placements. But it would also be nice of maybe just to have like a pin or something. So, but yeah, hopefully this is just a temporary issue due to someone's proclivity for slapping tariffs on everything. That maybe, just maybe, if politically things turn around and economically things turn around, and that a lot of these questionably legal tariffs are rescinded and that things stabilize, maybe we can get pins again. I don't know. But it's something that I am definitely going to be looking into because it's not fun. A lot of the other rewards are not super great quality. Like the stickers I'm burned about because like you could do nice stickers at least, and they're not. So unfortunately, bad news for everyone. I mean, the good news is Whispers in the Well looks like a fantastic set, but the organized play rewards might not quite be there. So now for our last bit of news. Now I mentioned an indie game that has yet to do a crossover with Shovel Knight. Vampire Survivors, folks, is getting a crossover with Balatro because, once again, this, I believe, is like another... It might be like another $3 expansion. Again, this game just never ceases to amaze me. And it's out now. Balatro. So the Balatro expansion is out. 4 new characters all have like bizarre Balatro themed abilities and weird modes available. Yeah, it's great. So I finally started playing Balatro over the summer. It's great. And it's trying to figure out how it crosses over into Vampire Survivors. There's things where like the chip and multiplier score counters are like weapons that float around everywhere. It's wild. Once again, Ponkel, I think they're just like mad scientists over there with how they can figure stuff out. And it's great. There's also an update for Ode to Castlevania that, if you already have Ode to Castlevania, I believe is free. And it, like, once again, adds more characters, more adventures, all this other stuff, more weapons and stuff. It's the amount of stuff that this game has given out, either for free or for extremely cheap, is absurd. And it is still one of the best values in gaming. In addition to that, online co-op. There's now online co-op where you are fully untethered from each other, so that you can both like just go completely separate ways and fully explore the map. So yeah. So I don't know if I can find the time. Maybe I'll do some Vampire Survivors. Maybe I'll even play it on stream and check this stuff out. But yeah, I got to find the time to do it. But this is great. I did play a little bit of like the Ode to Castlevania expansion. Seems great. And I'm so excited to do the Balatro stuff. So yeah. So that's out now. Very excited for it. And again, Ponkel seems great as a developer. I wish them all the success. So that is the last of our news. So we are going to switch gears and talk about Valheim, the board game. All right, so Valheim, the board game, was put out on GameFound. I want to say last year. I hope it was only last year. By Mood Publishing, who worked with Iron Gate, and probably Coffee Stain. to make a multiplayer, like 1 to 4 player board game, in an effort to try and capture the essence of Valheim. Now, for those of you who don't know, Valheim it's available on Steam, and maybe Xbox and PlayStation. But it is a multiplayer survival game. You can play it solo player. It can be pretty rough solo player, as someone who dove back in to play Valheim but has no one to play with right now. But it has all the classic tropes of survival games. So like you start out with like very little equipment. You basically have to like pick up a bunch of resources. You use those to make like a crafting table, and you put together like rocks and wood to make like stone tools, which you then use to get you eventually like upgrade those into copper or bronze tools, and then later you use those for like a good portion of the early game. Then you progress into iron tools and then other materials, and like you do base building. You have to manage your hunger, things like that. Viking aesthetic. So I want to say the idea is that like you died and you're in the afterlife to vanquish like a lot of these forsaken enemies, who are like big spirits or demons of various sorts. And your goal is to fight them and banish them from the realm of the dead, maybe. So Mood Publishing's goal was to try and make a board game that's pretty close to faithful approximation of this survival game. And I think they did a great job, to the point that I enjoy playing the board game more than I enjoy playing the survival game at this point. So the board game does a great job at like mimicking sort of the like the resource loops of like getting resources, bringing them back to the house, crafting there, getting better gear, using those to go out, get more higher tier resources, bring those back, craft even better gear, so on and so forth. And the board game does this in such a way where it gives you a limited amount of time to do those loops before you have to take on the Forsaken. So when you start a scenario, you pick one of the bosses, and you have to at least initiate a fight with that boss before like an event deck runs out, and you play an event card after every player's turn. So regardless of whether you're playing with 1 player or 4 players, it's always the same amount of it's always the same amount of total turns taken. It's just how many turns like an individual player gets to take is different. So it kind of tackles that problem of like, well, what do you do with a game where on the PC version you can play as long as you like. You can you could spend dozens of hours if you wanted to before you fight like the first Forsaken, or you could just go straight to it. They do crafting really well. They also like, you craft furniture. Furniture gives you a lot of passive benefits or extra things that you can do with your actions. And there's like certain tools that you can equip to help you like craft better. So that's fun. They do streamline cooking in that you don't need to worry about going out and gathering food. Cooking is just like you get 3 actions in a turn. You do one of your actions to cook, and you get food. There you go. So I like that it simplifies that. The materials are overall okay, in terms of like the physical quality of the board game. Um, I did spring for like a collector's edition, so I got um like a sort of thin wooden like punch outs that all assemble together to make like a three-dimensional house to put furniture in that also functions as a dice tower. Um, Normally you just get, it's like cardboard and it's just like a little standee that you set down that just simulates the house, and as well as a neoprene mat. Um, uh, so aside from that, there are issues with the character boards. Mine are a little warped, um, and there are pieces that are supposed to connect to them that don't stay in very well. There are wells on the character boards to put like cubes and like markers of sorts. They aren't very deep, so if you like jostle the board a little bit, cubes start flying all over the place. Um, but overall, build quality is okay. Could be better in some respects, but I've also seen a lot worse. Um, and my only other criticism is they include a tutorial, and the tutorial only works with 4 players, which I think is a bit of a disservice. When you could have figured out a way to make it work for 1, 2, 4 players. So like if you bought it just to play a game for yourself, like you can't play through the tutorial. Or if you did, you would have to control 4 characters on the board. And I think there's a better way of doing that. So as of right now, those are my only criticisms. I mean, we kind of went through the tutorial as far as we could. And my first playthrough, we only had 3 players, and then we were just like, well, we're going off book, so we might as well just completely throw out the tutorial. And we were able to get through it pretty well. The rules are pretty well laid out. There's like a couple of edge cases of like, how do you get rid of equipment, or whether like you can just drop equipment for free. That could have used better clarification in the book, instead of like it's kind of like buried in a tool, like a sidebar tooltip somewhere. But all in all, absolute blast. You start the game by like picking a bunch of skills, so there is a little bit of like character creation, so you can build your character how you want. I find the game works best if you have like a warrior / explorer type person, and then you have like a gatherer person, and then a crafter person. And the game also kind of leans this way. The one thing is, if you're following like a progression, because they do a campaign mode where you essentially follow the story of the game, where you fight like the Forsaken in ascending order. If you do that, like you can't mine ore, like you can't get metal, in the first, in like your first playthrough. You have to wait until you defeat the first Forsaken, who's called Eikthyr. He's a big giant deer. Like you have to beat him first, and then you can mine bronze. So if you're doing that, like there's one special skill that you can get where you can trade 4 of a resource for any other resource, and that becomes significantly better than any other skill, because that allows you to get metal when you otherwise would not be able to get it. And that just automatically puts you in a different class of like equipment that you can get. So it just, I don't know, like, and it's an expensive skill to use, but uh, its usefulness feels so much more pronounced than a lot of the other ones. Um, so it feels like kind of mandatory. Like I've been intentionally not picking it when playing other playthroughs, um, just to try and keep the feel of the game a bit better. So like, it's not that I'm uh like facing Ecthier with like iron level weapons, which is what we did on like our initial playthrough, uh, where we were just kind of goofing around and learning the game. So, uh, yeah, it's it's a lot of fun. Currently doing a campaign with my oldest son, who um is 5, so he's just starting to read. Um, but I'm able to explain a lot of the rules and stuff to him. He picks up on it pretty well. Um, I didn't look to see what like the recommended age range is. It's probably like somewhere in like 8 to 10 plus, I'd imagine. Um, but like without being able to read things, I was able to explain and talk through my 5-year-old through a whole game. So that could give you some indications. Um, you get, and it certainly helps that like a lot of it's very visual. You get like tokens and cards that have big, really nice artwork on them, of like your equipment and stuff. Um, a lot of the skills are easy to explain. Um, and then there's like standees for like the furniture that you get. There's standees for monsters that appear on the map, and like you physically put them on the map, and then like when you go fight them, there's like cards that have you know a lot of iconography is used, so that if you have players that are unable to read, okay, but can decipher pictures, um, that certainly helps. Um, so yeah, we're still working on. So he and I are still working on our second game. The first game I played was with my D&D group. We had an off night where not everyone could come, so we played that instead. Um, it's I'm We're having a little bit of trouble and with a 5-year-old of having the stamina for making it through the second game, so we're doing it in bursts. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm having fun. Combat and mechanics they use D6s of various types. So like better weapons will use like different D6s that have better face results on them. There's like a single gathering die. Um, and then like you roll enemy dice at the same time, and there's mechanics where you can re-roll dice or manipulate dice. Um, but it's not a dice chucker. So like, it's a lot if you're rolling like 6 dice. Um, so yeah, and then like the Forsaken themselves have their own special mechanics and their own special decks for when they do stuff. And they're all unique. And the mechanics for them and their scenarios are all unique. It's great. I'm having a blast. Uh, so if you were part of the crowdfunding campaign, um, let me know what your thoughts are. Because otherwise, I don't know if this will be available in stores. Like, I don't know if it's happening for retail unless stores were part of the crowdfunding campaign and got like whatever allotment that they ordered. Um. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Valheim, the board game. It's the I will say the graphic design and the artwork is gorgeous. Love it. It's so pretty. Uh and it really captures the feel of the PC game. So this is definitely going to be a game that I play a lot. Um and they have like the scenario book has something like 16 scenarios, with also guidelines for making your own. So that's pretty cool. You know, as a dungeon master and a game master for TTRPGs, love it when especially like for board games, that they give you a rubric for saying like, hey, if you want to make up your own scenario, here's how to do it. So like you can make up your own games, and it's like, that's so cool. So yeah, I encourage you, if you managed to snag a copy, to go play it. And if you didn't, find someone who did and go play, because it's a lot of fun. So that is going to conclude my review of Valheim the board game, which also means it's time for our show to be done. So thank you all for joining me this week. If you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8bitadventures.com. If you want to help support that content, the best way to do that is to become a patron over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Big shout out and thank you to all of my current patrons. Thank you for your continued support. And our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, I am signing off. So, as always, folks, have fun, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.